welcome you out to Planning Commission meeting for January 11th, 2023. We have 6 commissioners present. Commissioner Rowland has been excused for this evening. I've asked Commissioner Marzan to give our thought for today.
This thought by Warren Buffett. Someone is sitting in the shade today because someone planted a tree a long time ago.
And moving on to item 3, this is the approval of our minute from our previous meeting of December 14th, 2022. Is there any discussion on the minutes from the previous meeting? Entertain a motion to approve minutes.
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
A motion to a second.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor by yes?
Yes.
Any opposed? Okay. And then this next item is item number 4. This is a public forum. This is an opportunity for the public to address us about any item that is not on the agenda. If you're here for an agenda item, we'll get to that here shortly in a public hearing. If you'd like an agenda, there is some in the pockets, the back of the room there. But if you'd like to address us about anything not on the agenda, you're welcome to step up to the microphone and share your thoughts with us. Like everybody is here for agenda items, so we'll move on to item 5.1. This is a public hearing for the Ashley Ridge subdivision, Plat E, request by Ray Lovelace for a preliminary plan and final plat approval for a 2-lot, single-family subdivision located at 1300 East and Salem Canal Road in the R19 residential. And Michael has our presentation. So.
So this is a pretty basic subdivision plat amendment. To give you a little bit of context of where this is the pinpoint area where it is, and I'll zoom in on it for you. So it is this lot here. It encloses with this detached structure here. It's approximately 0.8 of an acre, and the applicant wants to subdivide it. So as you can see from the subdivision plat map, the one lot would be here, the other lot above. There is a note put on the plat that there's an existing accessory structure there, and that it's basically non-conforming because it needs to have a primary structure, but it would be allowed to remain. And then when a home goes there, that structure would come down so that the home could be put in place. So as it was shown to you, the address is 691 South 1300 East on this Utah County parcel, just a little bit over 0.8 of an acre, and the new lots would still conform to the current zoning. One lot would be approximately 0.5 an acre, and the other's just a little over 1/3 of an acre at 13,745. Originally, this was part of Ashley Ridge Plat B subdivision created in February 2019. So this being an administrative action, the applicant's entitled to approval so long as they meet all of our requirements for our codes. And so I just put that at the top here. But staff is recommending approval for this 2-lot subdivision amendment. Any questions?
Yeah, here.
I don't think so.
Maybe it's somebody online that I recognize.
Leave the applicant this online.
Commissioners or staff? Okay. Okay, so it is a public hearing, so we need a motion to open public hearing. A motion. Second. Seconds. Give Commissioner Moore for the second. All in favor by yes?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so this is a public hearing. If you'd like to address us on this item, we ask you step up to the microphone, give us your name, and give us your feedback on this project. Yeah. See if anybody online is raising a hand. I don't see anything. Online participants. Okay, seeing no public input, I will entertain a motion to close the public hearing. Motion to close public hearing. Motion. Second. Second, Commissioner Morgan. All in favor by yes?
Yes.
Okay. So, did he have a comment he wanted to make, or?
This is the applicant.
Okay.
And so,
So,
so unless you have questions for him, but he is here if you have questions.
sorry, I'm not speaking loud enough for you, so. But,
Yeah, I do wear hearing aids,
Alright.
and it is difficult to hear.
okay, I didn't see any questions, so we'll close public hearing. Any comments from commissioners?
Seems pretty straightforward.
Okay. There's no comments. Do we have a motion? And this is not a recommendation, it is an approval.
I would make a motion that we approve the proposed subdivision at 1300 East Salem Canal Road. As long as they work with staff and meet all conditions.
I have a motion, and a second.
Second,
Second, Commissioner Marzan, all in favor by yes?
Yes.
Yes.
And any opposed? Okay, that is approved and move forward. All right, next item is item 5.2. This is also a public hearing on the general plan amendment. And we're talking about the request to amend the future functional classification map that identifies proposed future roads and modifies some existing future road classifications. Michael has our presentation again.
So there's various additions to this chapter, but they're all on the map. There's no text amendment or anything here. Two different types of additions. One is to make the city's map in line with the Mountain Land Association of Governments regional transportation maps. And then the second was done because of development wanted or requested to realign one of the future roads. So those are the reasons why. This is obviously very small. I do have a copy of, this is the new map here. I do have a copy of that, and we can zoom in on that if you want to see that. This is currently what the map looks like now. As you can see, there's a lot more future roads in the western side of the city and unincorporated areas near the city. But if you have any questions or you need to zoom in, then just let me know. That's really what I've got. Staff is recommending approval for this, but I'll just take questions.
You said that's based off of MAG's kind of overall valley planning, not just the city. It's looking at
Correct.
the entire South County
The
planning.
applicant in one that was requested is right up here in the top corner, this little purple one. And they're just requesting to straighten it so it doesn't bisect their property. So.
To follow property boundary versus going through a property.
Correct.
Okay.
And I'm understanding that most of the changes are in the unincorporated area there.
Most of them, yes. But like I said, I can zoom into any area if you want to see those closer. So.
Questions for staff before we open a public hearing? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to open the public hearing.
I move we open public hearing.
Have a motion.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Morgan, all in favor by yes?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the public's opportunity to address us about this. You'll step up to the microphone, give us your name.
Can you bring up that mic? That map
Yeah,
again?
it's coming.
Okay.
Just give us your name.
Okay.
Share your thoughts.
Kimmy Jones. And I want to know why there's such a jog in a road. Can I find where the road is? There it is. Is this it, Maggie, right here? Yeah, I believe so.
Are you talking about 8 South?
Yep, yep, I am. And my question is, okay, it's coming off a jog and there's already an existing road there. Why is it going in between and taking that, going over the railroad tracks and taking as much property as it is when there's already an existing road there?
So you're talking about right here,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, because the new road proposed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So you've got designs that's outside of Payson City's purview for the most part, correct?
So we did the
worked with them
study.
on the
We
study.
hired the team to do the study,
Yeah.
to do an evaluation of all of those different options within that area. They looked at the existing alignment and where the bridge needs to go for the flyover for the 2 railroad tracks, where it should land. And that study determined that this was the optimal route based on all of those different factors.
why weren't the landowners or the people that are going to be directly affected by that ever notified that that was an option? We were never notified. We weren't notified until it was approved.
Is the main reason because it's cost effective for you, Dot, or?
Well, it's cost effective and feasibility of the ground. A lot of this area is wet and wetlands and all of those types of things. And so that was the determination.
MTech's putting up their property on.
Right.
wetlands. So.
We've gone over this so many times.
Yeah, but.
And
mine
the
was at
the
risk, and
re-
so was her.
I know.
Yeah.
The reality is that that was the alignment that was recommended to the city council. The city council made that change, but we're talking about decades into the future as a
Well, you say that,
possibility.
but I don't believe
But
that.
it could be at any
It could be
time,
5 years down
and
the
it can
road.
be changed based on, new and available information, just like we're here tonight,
Okay.
changing.
So what information would it take to change it?
Well, I think
Okay.
further study, further analysis, and a request.
Did you go through the Wall Corporation for your study?
Is that okay, yes. And WCG reached out, I know. How you didn't get notified
Because we're
Is-
direct, I mean, it touches, it's gonna touch my
still
property.
baffling to me.
And we were never, because we provided email and mail and Corey's office address. We provided everything to be notified and we never once received any notification
Yeah.
whatsoever.
And
We've
we've
reached out
talked
to
about
an
that, and that's
attorney.
just,
We've reached out to an
crazy.
attorney because we feel like now we've been blindsided by the city unfairly and this change is gonna happen. We have no say. I mean, I know we don't own as much property as one of the city council members and the other people out there, but still, we should have been notified that it was coming because we have we have horses and we have goats, we have livestock out there. We're going to be mainly affected by that road, majorly affected by that road coming into it, not
Absolutely.
just Maggie's house taken out. It's going to majorly affect us. And I feel very betrayed by Payson City that we got annexed in when we didn't have a choice. Yet they didn't have the courtesy to notify us or let us know that any change was coming or have any say or be involved in any of the meetings or anything. So I don't know whether we hire a big time attorney and pay thousands of dollars to try and to fight the road, or I'm at a loss. I don't know what to do now. I don't know what to do now, but I feel like it was very unfair and that it wasn't done correctly by Payson City. And I feel betrayed. So from this point, I want to say, what do I do to fight that road now? Because I feel like, do I need to go hire an attorney? I've consulted with one, but do I need to go hire an attorney to protect my rights where they didn't have the courtesy to involve us in anything? I just feel a little betrayed, I guess. I don't know, because you work hard for the property and build it to where it is, and then voila, there you have it.
My name is Ryan Wiltshire, and I'm her neighbor. And that's my wife Maggie. And what seems to me like the way that it's jogged north for the sake of wetlands Have y'all seen that big subdivision out here, just north and east of town? That's wetlands. That is wet. That little creek going across Teeny Creek, or no, it's not, Spring Creek out there. That's nothing compared to that wetlands. So that's an excuse. We all know that. We all know that. First of all, it's not gonna only just take out her property, it's taking out my house. It's taking out my garage. My house is brand new. And I wanna know, do I invest more in my property, or do I not invest in my property? Do I do yard work, or do I not do yard work? So I wanna know basically if it's gonna come and when it's gonna come. And if you look at that jog right over there, it goes so north. Why does it go so north to Utah Avenue going out? You have two main streets going out so close together. If you follow the main trajectory, the way that four-way intersection is, if you went out along the train track and went that way, you could go to the same flyover as he's talking about, but just a little bit more, and then go straight out towards, you'd cross a hayfield and you wouldn't take out anybody's houses. I think there's a way to put that road out there without disturbing anybody's homes. Yeah, you might take some property out, you might take a hayfield out, but I don't think you would take any homes out. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Mr. Fisher.
You can scroll the map up so we can see south a little more. Yeah, that's good.
You're next on the target. For sure.
Is there any additional public comment on this item?
Is that, are they doing a three-way exit right behind you? Are they doing a three-way exit?
So is that a new freeway exit that's proposed, that purple?
Future minor collectors, what it states.
So is that an
So it's-
I-15 exit?
Potentially, but that's just identifying.
At 1200.
Right, yeah, it is.
No.
So we're on 11,900, the road just above it.
So that purple circle that you're looking at, that is not a freeway interchange.
It's not.
No,
Not at 12,000.
not at 12,000.
Oh.
At 12.
At 12,400, the red line.
Is the one that's further south.
Yeah.
And that would be a three-way.
Yes, that would be an interchange one day.
Next over. So the green is going to be a future going east-west, just a continued straight on.
Correct. A
Yeah,
collector.
major
It will just
collector.
Connect east to west. It'll still be. an
Versus
overpass.
the loop around and
Right.
on to 11,900.
So anticipated going through Taylor Ranch
Right.
rather than the kind of weird jog that you have to do now.
And then if you'll go back, the connector, that's the dead end, coming here, that'll line up with Taylor Ranch's existing road to his house.
That is 1950.
Yeah.
So it's a city coordinate, so it
It's
goes,
not 1950, because I live on 1950 and I'm right here. This is a few more blocks up bordering Mendenhall and Hawkeye LLC or something.
yeah, that green dash line is intended to be 1950
But
west.
that's not
Is that gonna
connected.
take out your house?
Yes. So who's proposed that then? Why would this not continue straight? Because if it goes to his road, my lot's here. His is here, and mine's here, there's another one here. How is that 1950?
Well, the coordinate of that road that
That's,
goes down.
that's
to
1700 right
Beacon
there.
Woods and Spencer's and all
Yeah.
that is 1950. And it dead ends.
Oh,
Right now.
1950, that's your
1950 city coordinates.
city court, I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah,
you're right,
that's
you're
where,
right.
that's where we're not connecting.
Yeah,
You're right.
county coordinate, no.
Yes, yes.
No, okay, so I'm not in the, I've got a, okay. I don't know. I was thinking 11,950, they always call that 11,900.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
Okay, yes, great.
I think one thing to look at here is we're drawing nice, pretty straight lines on this map because it makes sense for future planning.
Right?
That doesn't mean they're gonna go right through your house. They could curve that road around. It's for future planning, it's just give us a general idea, this is where this road is. But when it comes down to actually building that road, they're gonna say, hey, there's this house sitting in the way.
Right.
Does it make
Well,
sense to
right
move
now,
around
the
it?
straight line just goes like
Right,
nice through between properties and.
because we're talking 10, 20 years down the road. And so it's just a general vision of this is where the roads are going to be, not necessarily this is the exact location where this road's going. And so they're going to take that into consideration if they actually get out to,
Well,
big
and
dirt
and like
road.
they're talking before, you know, we're potentially wanting to build a different home on that
Yeah.
property.
and where you put it could,
Or where I put it, or do I even go that route? You know,
Right.
You're gonna come to me in 10 years and say, well, sorry, we're gonna put a road through here.
Right.
Your hard work's gone. Okay.
valid concern, but that's one thing I think we need to realize on this future land use map, is it's not specifically on those exact lines. It's just, this is the general area. I mean, we could be a couple hundred feet either side of that and still be what the road is there.
Mhm.
So,
I think it's important to understand that as the Mountain Land Association of Governments has looked at the cities and the connections between cities and the potential build outs, they have recognized that there will need to be traffic flow in order to handle the amount of development that someday will come. And so by marking out these potential routes, they have kind of put a marker in the sand that says, when we plan for development down the road, we need to plan that there will be a road within a reasonable distance of there, so that the people who live in that area can come and go in a reasonable fashion. That obviously existing roads will not always carry the amount of traffic that could come. So by planning this way, we have a way to handle future traffic loads that may come as development does.
I think that's a good point he brings up too, is that really till this develops, those roads aren't going to get put in place. So this helps us as planners, that when a developer comes in and says, hey, I want to build in this area, we can say, just so you know, when you build in this area, you need to build this type of road because that's what's planned out. But again, until it develops, those roads aren't going to even be put in place because it's going to be the burden of the developer in those areas to put those roads in. So.
Well, and just to add to that, that is part of the reason why this map is being edited for the top portion. Was a developer basically came in and said, I don't want that going through my property.
Right.
And so that's why we were changing it for that property, and there they are.
Because a better alternative
Yeah.
exists.
Yeah.
That one is critical to understand, that there's a better alternative for that one.
So on the, I'm sorry to, you want me to come up?
Yeah,
Yeah.
come on
Your
up.
name, you want to put that on.
No, it's
Sorry, I have a photo ID.
David Ashby. I'm just curious on the coloring, like the frontage road along I-15 in that area.
You can just use your fingers. Where were you? Colorings down the bottom corner.
So like these coloring minor and major, like what are those like sizing roads kind of thing?
Michael, do you have, off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you which one's a 2-lane.
So
road, 4-lane road,
purple, which
5-lane
is
road.
a
Minor collector.
minor collector, future minor collector. Is that like just a
That's like
two-lane
a,
highway?
that's like a 2-lane with a
lane.
turning lane.
Okay,
And major is a 4-lane road with a turning road.
Mhm.
and like,
And major arterial.
as these are potentially widened, do they encroach on, say, I-15 on that frontage road, or do they go into property?
Well, obviously, the federal highway is gonna have whatever right of way they have on either side, so it's not gonna encroach on that without the proper channels being taken, so.
So it would go towards the owners then?
Generally, yes. Compensated.
But again, that's only as it develops, and so the developer deeds that over to the city at that time. So it's like, hey, I just bought this 100 acres, I'm gonna develop this section.
And you
have
say,
to
good,
deed-
widen our road?
And he'll
That's right.
widen his portion of
Right.
his development, doesn't widen anything beyond that either. He widens just his portion, and then as future developments, then they tie that in. And
Well, it seems like the development going on at the condos up there isn't putting that turn lane in. So maybe that's something to be addressed now. But anyway, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else like to make some comments before we close the public hearing on this item?
I'll say something.
Just step back up the mic. We just gotta get it for recording purposes.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
Ryan Wiltshire again. And I just want to tell you something right now. 25 years ago or so, when they put that four-way intersection out there on the 8th South going towards West Mountain, I leased for years and years before that. I leased that property right where the 7-Eleven is right now. And I had my horses out there for years. And they put that out there. I was excited about having a road going out there to West Mountain. I could see in the future that they needed to put a road out there. But so I know their plan was to do that at some point. It's been years and years now, but let's stick with the plan that was already set and go straight out from that point instead of bearing 2 blocks to the north and then going straight out. That's because I was kind of saying, well, that would be great because that would eliminate a lot of traffic out there going down Utah Avenue and then that road by Taylor Ranch is so windy and small anyway. So having a nice road go straight through, but straight out would be, I mean, let's put those two in the middle instead of swinging them way north or south.
Got public comment for us, Joe? or-
Well, I can do it during this, or I can do it under the commission reports, but it has to do with transportation. So maybe with the public here, I'm gonna have a little plug for a public visioning workshop that we're having tomorrow night. So, because it is related to transportation, not only for vehicles, but for transit. So if any of the public is interested, we are doing a public visioning workshop for the future front runner station in Payson. That's going to be located on the north interchange in Payson. It's going to be an asset that is going to serve many communities and residents in South Utah County. It's definitely something that will provide opportunities and challenges for our community, but it is related to transportation. So I know that the residents here, they're concerned with very specific transportation corridors now, but going back to the comment that the commissioners made, it's all a big connected system. We're connecting collectors to arterials, to local roads, to freeways. And it all depends on the capacity needed for that particular corridor. And that depends on the type of land use, commercial, industrial, residential, or in the case of residential, how much density is there. And so we've got to make sure we're making those connections and we have those corridors to get people from where they're at to where they want to be. Whether it's shopping, whether it's going to school, whether it's to the freeway, going to their job. And so, yes, we all have to look at the connection as we start to go from 10,000 feet down to 5, down to actually digging in the ground, it refines from those points. But the reason I mention that is just with this station area plan that we're starting this process on, we're on that very higher level of how can we provide transit in our community, and how can we get people in the community or South Utah County
to that future transportation asset. So it's one of these plugs of, we're starting a new process for a new area of our community that will not just be 500 acres. It's going to be how we connect to the bigger community. So we would really encourage residents and property owners to get involved in that process as well, very early in the process. So, anyway.
Take a motion to close the public hearing. The motion, do I have a second? Second, Commissioner Morgan, all in favor by yes?
Yes.
Commission discussion?
I've just got a couple of questions. When we talk about the dotted lines or the dashed lines on here, how much flexibility is there in the location? I mean, we talked about, for example, moving a road 100 feet because of some good reason for doing so. Is that applicable to all of those dashed lines, or are there some of these that are a little more in stone than others? How do we look at that?
Can I take a stab at
Sure.
that? These dashed lines are our best guess, right? They're based on location, but we also have to remember that these dashed lines are based on what our future land uses are going to be, right? So based on what we think is going to happen there, this is where it's going to happen. This is what it's going to be. Any changes that we make to the general plan or to actual zoning and future development and things like that, those are going to be the determinants of what actually allows us some viscosity there. So the answer, I think, is yes. There is some ability to change. How much depends on what future decisions and future development is done.
Okay. All right. So I think the safe thing to say there is, if it's a dashed line, it's not a final decision. There will be more discussion when development takes place.
Yeah, there will be iterations of it.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Questions or comments?
Now, my only question / comment would be, I believe 8 South is the state took over 8 South with that a swapped roads going to Avenue or something, so the alignment was under their, they had to approve the realignment out that way, is that correct?
8 South is a state road.
Right.
They have not necessarily secured all of that right of way going along that dashed line, but the 8 South portion that's existing is.
I understand the study that went out through there was actually had to be approved by UDOT there for acquisition of properties.
Yeah, the study is done to UDOT standard with the anticipation that one day that will be a UDOT facility. Hasn't happened yet. And that was under the discretion of the city, that study and everything, but it was done with the parameters and the anticipation that it would be a UDOT facility in the future.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Questions? Or do we have a motion?
Can you pull up the current and the proposed maps?
Yeah, I won't be able to zoom into those because that's just on a PowerPoint.
Okay.
But if you want to, I can pull that back up again.
So in terms of like the Amber South dotted line, that hasn't changed from the current to this one.
Correct.
Okay.
I think one of the issues that I recall that they had to think about on that 800 South was the fact that in order to gain enough elevation to clear the railroad tracks, they had to allow a slope back down to grade. And that had some impact on what they chose to do there. Is that right?
Yeah, it's an impactful road. There's no doubt about it.
No matter which way the slice, it's gonna affect somebody somewhere, unfortunately, because it's big.
Along the entire corridor.
Yeah. Because it's gonna be 5 lanes at some point all the way out, right? It'll be a 5-lane road, so it's got a pretty good size right of way that cuts through there.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we have a motion.
It's a 5-way road with the wide field.
Now, this is a motion to recommend to the
Recommend.
city council.
Yes.
I would make a motion to recommend the new map to city council for approval.
The motion, do I have a second? Second. Commissioner Moore, all in favor, by yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Appreciate you coming. And as those sites do develop, you will or should get notifications as things develop there. They should be sending out notifications as the development happens in those areas. So
Should.
Yes.
I wish I could guarantee it.
Sure.
Yeah.
I-
That one is really
Yes,
bad.
but anything that develops or subdivided within, is it 500 feet of their property, you should get a notification that a development's changing either.
You know, the first notification we got was from the wall company. They're the ones who notified us and told us that Payson was planning on putting the road over the top of our property. So, I don't know, maybe someone was not on the up and up with letting us know for some reason, I don't know, but the wall company is the one who, and the one in charge of doing the surveys and stuff and the, you know, the investigations of where the road should go. So I'm gonna give them a call. We know them personally. So we'll call them and see what the distinction was that changed UDOT's mind on the development. So
No, I appreciate you coming and provide your feedback and thanks for coming. Okay, moving on, commission and staff reports. Jill's already got the one item, that's tomorrow night at 5.
Oh, I didn't mention time.
It's
6:30.
6:30 to
6:30 to 7:30 tomorrow night.
6:30 in this
Banquet hall.
So at the south doors.
And that'd be the north interchange. So 6:30, and it's open house style, correct? So it's not
No, it's gonna be more like
presentation.
bit of presentation, some feedback, and then,
So being at 6:30 would be important on this one versus an open house style where it's.
right,
So,
more workshop style rather than open house style.
is there any other staff report, training?
Can I make a comment?
Working on the second meeting in January, so the upcoming one. If we don't have any specific items for discussion or action, we might do an activity instead. So,
Take a final motion.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
Can I ask a question?
yes.
There is nothing on the church, on the city website that indicates